They tell me that these introductory videos should welcome the students and tell them a little bit about myself. Okay, fine. As many of you probably know, I'm Jeffrey Orvis, the Department of Chemistry here at Georgia Southern. I've been here long enough that this was my first tablet that I used on the job. And as I've been here for quite a while now, and let's face it, aging gracefully the whole time, one interesting thing has been my classes over the years speculating about who should get to play me when they make the movie. Now, early in my career, very often a common choice that my students would make would be someone like Sean Connery. Harrison Ford became a popular choice for a while there. As time went on, Russell Crowe was a common choice as well. These days, the suggestions seem to be either Ryan Gosling or perhaps Channing Tatum. And I can see that. I understand where everybody's coming from there. But inevitably, there's always in my classes one student who comes up with a different idea, and as soon as they say it, everybody else in the class seems to agree with them. Yeah, it's Doc Brown from Back to the Future. I know I'm as puzzled by that choice as you are, but it seems to be a fairly common one. This happens over and over when the question comes up in class, so I don't get it either. And another personal detail, I do have a couple of passions in life. One of them clearly is fashion. This is my dress uniform for teaching my classes, and the other one is teaching my classes. That is, I am lucky enough, to be honest with you, to be in a career that I am pretty certain I was meant to be doing. And in fact, on my student evaluations, especially on the written comment section, in between all the instances of you suck, bite me, and dickhead, is also the word enthusiasm. I am highly enthusiastic about the classes I teach, and of all the topics that I've talked about in my classes, the one that I have probably the most passion for is NMR spectroscopy. So when I was asked to consider doing the NMR class in an online version, I was admittedly a bit skeptical at first because of my own experience with online classes or online learning has not been all that strong. When you're in a face-to-face class, they tell you the thing never to do when you're using PowerPoint is to read your PowerPoint slides. And I don't know how many online classes I've seen where it consists of mostly narrated PowerPoints, where they are reading their PowerPoints to you. But it's online, so ooh, it must be really neat. No, it's a bore hole, let's face it. My other experience with online type learning has been some of these really trite and virtually ridiculous type questions like this one. This is an actual question from an online quiz in chemical safety the university makes all of us here in chemistry take every year. Yeah, that's really an important one there. But I have worked in NMR for decades now, ever since graduate school, and I have taught a face-to-face class in NMR spectroscopy here at Georgia Southern for a long time as one of these upper-level elective classes. We recently got a new instrument here, a new and improved one over the one we had since starting from about 20 years ago, and this instrument does make acquiring data and sharing data and moving data around on the campus network so much easier than the previous instrument that it seemed like for accessing data that trying this in an online version might be a lot easier now than it would have been in the past. So I admit I'm a little bit outside my comfort zone here, but we're going to give it a try anyway. For for these reasons, I've chosen to do a lot of my communicating in this class through video rather than narrated PowerPoints or some other, or here, read this document type thing. Oh, we are going to have some PowerPoints and documents and other things to look at, but my primary means of communicating with the class, at least for conveying material, is through videos like this one. Now, these videos, admittedly, I've been making them, I've been producing them, I'm my own camera person, I'm my own video editor. I know, there are 12-year-olds that are putting far better stuff up on YouTube than I'll ever hope to be able to do. We'll just have to suffer through that somehow. Many of the videos are here. This is my office here in the chemistry building. Sometimes we'll be at different locations, either my lab or down in the NMR lab itself.
In some of our videos will be filmed and presented down here. This is my light board, and there are times when I want to be able to write when we're doing equations or problem solving, for example. And if I did that in a classroom on a chalkboard or a whiteboard, I'd have my back to you the whole time. And, let's face it, that's just not ideal, especially not in a video setting. So I use this because it gets me something that I can write on if I want to show some calculations. And there are going to be a fair number of calculations from time to time in this course. And this, I like being able to kind of talk my way through the calculations and kind of get that, up to the minute feel of working our way through it better than if I presented the equations, all nicely printed out in a PDF document or something like that. So I like using this because it kind of recaptures some of the immediacy of actually having students in the classroom. It's interesting when you do this, it looks like when I'm on the light board that I'm actually writing left-handed, but I'm not. I'm using a little bit of trickery and some video editing to get the presentation right. This is what the video actually looks like before we do any changes, mainly because it's recording me and exchanging right and left. So when I'm writing on the light board, I'm not actually writing left-handed, and I'm not actually writing reversed and then keeping all that straight in my head. I'm not smart enough to be able to pull that off, but I am reversing the perspective of the video, rotating it essentially 180 degrees, so the printing looks correct from your viewpoint. It does make me look left-handed, which is all right, but I'm really not. But this is the light board, and we'll see this get used fairly often in the course as well.
And students take this class either online or in the face-to-face version for a number of different reasons. It's an upper-level elective, so it counts toward the degree. They may have been interested in the topic from their brief introduction that you had back in organic chemistry. You may have used the technique or be planning on using the technique in your own research labs. And let's face it, it might be the last damn elective that you need, and it's the only one offered, and finally you'll be able to graduate. And so here it is. For whatever reason that you're here, welcome. You're going to be dusting off your puzzle solving skills quite a bit here. I truly hope you find the subject fascinating. It is one of the most fascinating things I've ever learned about. It's one of the most fascinating things I get to talk about in my job. Welcome to the class.